Joke lovers of Reddit, what's a great joke? Say what you want about deaf people. Blind prostitute I was with said I had biggest big she ever felt. But I know she was just pulling my leg. My wife got really mad at the fact I have no sense of direction. So I packed up my stuff and right. Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? If you can't come, let me know. A man was at his friend's funeral and asked the wife if he could say a word. She agreed. The man stood at the podium and said, "Plethora." As he sat back down, the wife said, "Thanks. That means a lot." Edit, thanks for the gold. His brother asked if he could say a few words. So he got up and said, "Not dying," and sat back down. The wife responded, "He would have liked that." I bought the world's worst thesaurus yesterday. Not only is it terrible, it's also terrible. I bought one an hour ago and all the pages were blank. I have no words to describe how angry I am. A man was late to the cannibal party. He got the cold shoulder. Two cannibals are eating a clown. One asks the other, "This taste funny to you?" Two guys are walking down the street and come across this dog licking his gonads. One guy says to the other man, "I wish I could do that." The other guy responds, "Maybe you should pet him first." Two tampons pass each other in the street. But they don't say hi. They are both stuck-up hunts. Do you know the difference between a rectal and an oral thermometer? The taste. A doctor goes to write something down and pulls out a rectal thermometer. He thinks to himself, "Some asshole's got my pen." What's the difference between a good joke and a bad joke timing? A guy went up to a food truck and the sign says, "Fries $3. Burgers $5. Handies $10. He goes to the counter and there's a gorgeous blonde woman working there. He asks her, "Are you the one who gives the handies?" She says, "I sure am," and winks. He replies, "Well, wash your hands, cause I want a burger and fries. And no special sauce, thanks." A cowboy walks into a bar. He gets a few drinks and settles up with the bartender. He walks out to find his horse is missing. He walks back into the bar, whips out his pistol and fires into the ceiling. He says, "Which one of you idiots stole my horse?" No one answered. Then he says, "If my horse ain't back by the time I finish another drink, I'm gonna have to do what I did back in Texas. And I don't like to do what I done back in Texas." He has a drink and walks back outside. His horse is back where it used to be. As he was mounting up, the bartender walks out and asks, "Say partner, what did you have to do in Texas?" "I had to walk home," answered the cowboy. The horse's name was Friday. Who is this Rorschach guy and why does he keep drawing pictures of my parents fighting? What's the difference between a joke and a rhetorical question? You know what they say about cliffhanger. What do you call a psychic midget who escaped prison? A small, medium, at large. I saw that guy during his escape. He was climbing down the outer wall when he looked at me and sneered. I thought, that's a little condescending. A woman, tired of living alone, decides to put an ad in the local paper. She asks for 3 things. 1. A man who will treat her nicely. 2. A man who won't leave her. And 3. A man who is well endowed and great in bed. Several weeks go by without a result. And the woman is resigned to life without a man who can embody those qualities. Then, the doorbell rings and she opens it to find an armless, legless man in a wheelchair. He says, "As you can see, so I can't beat you. And I have no legs, so I can't run away from you." And asks, "Yeah?" The man answers, "How do you think I rang the doorbell?" Every woman needs 1. A man who will treat her nicely. 2. A man who won't leave her. And 3. A man who is well endowed and great in bed. And it's best if these men don't know each other. A Holocaust survivor goes to heaven and meets God. He tells God a Holocaust joke. God says, "That's not funny at all." The survivor says, "Guess you had to be there. Holy shit lol." An Oklahoma state trooper pulls over a circus clown for speeding. The clown says, "I'm headed to Tulsa for a circus show and I don't want to be late." The trooper asks the clown, "What do you do in the show?" "Alright," says the trooper. "If you juggle for me here, I won't give you a ticket." The clown says, "I don't have my equipment." The trooper says excitedly, "I've got some flares in the back of my car." As the clown begins juggling the flares on the side of the road, a good old boy, drunk off his ass, pulls in behind the trooper to witness the spectacle. After watching for a few minutes, the man then climbs into the backseat of the squad car, having never seen a man arrest himself before. Walks over to the man and asks, "What are you doing?" The man says, "You may as well take me to jail now, 'cause I ain't gonna pass that test." A middle-aged man and his wife are playing golf when she starts talking about what would happen if she suddenly died. "I'd want you to get remarried and be happy," she says. "I'd want you to take her golfing like we are today. You could even give her my golf clubs." "Oh, I wouldn't do that," he responds. "She's left-handed." Two boys are taking a stroll through the woods when they come across this well. They take a look down the well and can't see the bottom. They want to know how long the drop is, so one of them throws a pebble down there. They wait a while, nothing. They spot a good sized rock and toss it down the well next. They wait a while, still nothing. They look around and spot an engine block. They wait a while, then bang. A loud crash is heard. Right when they are about to move on through the woods, a goat comes sprinting past them and dives into the well. While looking at each other and down the well in shock, a farmer runs up to them. "Excuse me, I left my goat around here. Do you know where it went?" "Your goat's crazy, sir." One of the boys starts explaining. "It sprinted and dived into this well here." The farmer looked at the boys, puzzled. "But that's impossible. I tied it to an engine block." There once was a man in Guam who loved driving trains. He had done it all his life, and he intended to continue. One day, he drove his train a little too fast and ended up killing someone on the tracks. He went to court for it and was given the death sentence. He ate a single banana for his last meal, and he was off to the chair when the executioner flipped the switch. Sparks flew. Smoke rose. Well, at the time in Guam, a failed execution was considered divine intervention and he was set free. Somehow, he got his old job driving trains back, and the same week ran over someone else. This time, however, he had 2 bananas for his last meal. Again, sparks flew. Smoke rose. But he was fine. He survived the chair again and was set free, surprising no one. The next month he had killed someone else with the train. This time, for his last meal, he asked for 3 bananas. The judge said enough of the bananas. The man said the bananas had nothing to do with it. "I'm just a bad conductor." You know why blind people don't jump out of airplanes? It scares the dog. A person is walking down the street and hears a bunch of people in a fenced-in yard shouting, 19, 19, 19. Curious, he walks over and looks through a hole in the fence. Someone from the other side pokes him in the eye and they all start shouting 20, 20, 20. Edit, thanks for the silver. At a construction site, a construction worker is working on the 5th floor. He needs a saw, but the nearest one is on the 1st floor. He tries asking his colleague on the 1st floor to pass it to him, but he can't hear him. The guy on the 5th floor decides to use actions. He points to himself, meaning I. He then points to his knee, meaning need. He then makes a back and forth sawing motion, referring to the saw. The guy on the 1st floor nods his head and promptly whips out his big dig and starts masturbating. The guy on the 5th floor sees this and is so pissed. "All I did was ask you for the saw." The guy on the 1st floor says, "I know. I was just trying to tell you that I'm coming." Did you know you can't run through a campground? You can only ran, 'cause it's past tense. When I'm talking with my Hispanic friends I use the word mucho. It means a lot to them. A man walks into a crowded bar on a Friday night. And there's a big commotion going on. Curious. He walks into the crowd and tries to find what is so exciting. Looking up, he sees several pieces of meat hanging from the ceiling. Even more curious now, he works his way to the bartender. The man asks the bartender, "Why are there pieces of meat hanging from the ceiling?" The bartender grins. He replies, "We have a special going on right now. If you can jump up and hit all of the pieces hanging, then you earn free drinks for the rest of the night. However, if you miss even one, the entire bar's drinks are on your tab for the next hour. Do you want to give it a try?" The man looked up again, weighing the odds. "No thanks. The stakes are too high." What's the difference between a dirty bus stop and a lobster with breast implants? One is a crusty bus station. The other is a busty crustacean. I'd tell you my favorite dead baby joke, but I always duck up the delivery. I got these new shoes from a drug dealer. IDK what they're laced with, but I've been tripping all day. What are the strongest days of the week? Saturday and Sunday, the rest are weekdays. Q. How many narcissists does it take to screw in light bulb? A. 1. He holds the bulb while the world revolves around him. What's green? A pool table. A man walked into a zoo. There was only one animal in the entire zoo. A dog. It was a Shih Tzu. What's blue and smells like red paint? Blue paint. What do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash? I'll tell you what you get. You get what you ducking deserve. Went to the doctor the other day. "Doctor, don't eat anything fatty. Soda and stuff?" "Doctor, no fatty, just don't eat anything." Makes me chuckle every time. Why do elephants paint their toenails red? So they can hide in cherry trees. Have you ever seen an elephant in a cherry tree? See? It works. Why was the bouncy castle so expensive? Due to the cost of inflation. Stand-up comic. The sign on the front said $50 per specimen. $50. I wish somebody would have told me sooner. There's a shirt under my bed worth $17,000. I would tell a joke about shootings, but it's aimed at a younger audience. It's kind of long, but it's good if I remember it correctly. The tribe's leader told them they had 10 minutes to go find 10 fruit in the nearby forest. After 10 minutes the first man comes back with 10 apples. The leader then told him to shove them all up his ass without showing emotion. He tries and gets the first one in but is struggling. He tries to put the second one in but shows emotion and is shot to death by arrows. The second man gets back with 10 grapes and is told to do the same thing. He is finding it very easy and is getting it done fairly quickly and gets to the 7th one. Until he burst out laughing. And is shot to death. Why did you laugh? You were so close. A second man said, I was finding it pretty easy. Until I saw the third man walking up with pineapples. A man named Ted moved into an apartment building and was invited to have dinner by the old lady next door. A few minutes into the meal Ted starts feeling rather gassy. He holds it as long as he can but finally lets out a teeny fart. Before he can apologize the old lady yells out Sadie. And tells her cat to get away from Ted. Ted is relieved. As she obviously thought it was her cat that had farted. They keep eating. With Ted farting here and there as needed. Each time the old lady erupts with Sadie. Get away from Ted. Sure enough the old lady yells out Sadie. Get away from Ted before he sheets all over you. What do we want? Low-flying airplane noises. When do we want them? Now. A bunch of books fell on my head this morning. I've only got myself to blame. Tell someone to start a knock knock joke. It should go. Them, knock knock. You, who's there? Them question mark? Little Johnny is in class when the teacher puts forth a math problem. If there are 7 birds on a fence and the farmer shoots 3, Little Johnny raises his hand and responds none. 3 are dead and the rest flew away. The teacher in turn tells him actually, there are 4 but I like the way you think. So Johnny raises his hand and says, teacher, let me ask you a question. You're walking in the park on a hot summer day and you see 3 women eating ice cream cones. The first is using her teeth and biting the hell out of it. The second woman is using just the tip of her tongue. But the third woman, she's licking it up and down, using her full tongue and lips. Now I ask you, which of these 3 women are married? Well, the teacher blushes but she responds well. Clearly the third woman. Johnny responds, nope. It's the one wearing the wedding ring. But I like the way you think.